So hopefully you took a minute to kind of think about what color was expressing here. So what does the yellow mean? So here, yellow probably means sickness or death. Christ's body is the same color of the grass, so that dying grass is the same color as the dying Christ. So he's using color here to show symbolism. He also has these kind of dark oranges or reds throughout the countryside to probably describe violence or blood and death. Around 1891, Gauguin gets sick of society and wants to live like a so-called savage, as he described it. So he moved to Tahiti, into a culture which he thought to be primitive and untouched by the civilized world. It's also said that he chose Tahiti because he believed that the women, or at least the conception at the time was that the women were supposed to be more sexually friendly. Tahiti was not the untouched paradise that he thought it would be. It had already been Christianized and westernized. But even so, he goes and he lives in a plank house and he marries a 13-year-old girl. He paints Tahiti and its residents how he imagined it. So he actually is painting it, even though he's seeing that it's actually affected by Western society, he's painting it more primitive than it actually was. He depicts their traditional beliefs as unaltered, although they were impacted by the Christian tradition. In this image, Spirit of the Dead Watches shows their belief in ghosts, which is a strong part of native Tahiti religion and culture. Here, Gauguin paints his young wife here as a ghost came to visit her during the night. Her body is rigid, you can especially see that with her arms, in fear. Similar to the sermon painting, we see what is imagined here, or what's in the girl's head. So we're seeing that ghost, what's in the girl's head. Yeah, when we look at a painting like this, we can't help but compare it to previous traditions. So despite his rejection of contemporary society and tradition, he obviously knew about this type of tradition in painting. Remember, his guardian collected Manet paintings, so he definitely saw Manet's work. So how is this image the same and how is it different from these previous so-called Venus images? Well, it's similar because it depicts a young woman. She's naked. She's looking at the viewer. And all of them are on some sort of bed. It's different because unlike these women, her body is rigid, whereas everyone else seems relaxed. And she's not the traditional Western idealized beauty. So she has darker skin. She's also depicted on her belly instead of her back like these two, although she's depicted kind of on her side in the opposite facing the opposite way. Again, he uses flat colors, strong outlining to depict his figures, and he uses that broad expanse of color as he did in the past two images that we were looking at. I think this is a really interesting detail here with the bed, how you can see in all these images kind of the separators there, separating line there. In 1893, Gauguin returns to France, where he paints Day of the Gods. This is supposed to be an image of paradise, or the paradise that he thought he would find in Tahiti. He ignored the fact that women dressed more Western during the time that he was in Tahiti, and he paints them in either exotic clothes or without clothes. In the upper center, he has depicted a deity. It's actually inspired by an India deity, a deity from India. I think your book says Javanese. It's hard to tell because it's really abstracted. But the point is that it is a god or goddess that is not natural to Tahiti, not native to Tahiti. He separates this image and this composition into three horizontal zones. Each zone becomes more abstracted as it reaches the foreground. The upper zone is less abstracted. We can actually see women gathering together, talking, doing activities. In the second zone, we see this woman, the central woman here, and these two figures in the fetal position. This might represent the life cycle. So either birth, life, and death, or death, or life, or birth, life, and death. So it might represent that cycle. And then in the foreground, we have the water's reflection, which is just like colors of swirling, just a reflection of swirling colors. This is supposed to represent a mysterious pool of thoughts, to evoke thought. The painting is suggestive of an unstated meaning that can't literally be expressed, but only evoke indirectly through abstract pictorial means. So basically what it's trying to do is he's trying to make painting better than literature. He's trying to say that there are things that can be said without words, some things that cannot be said in words. So therefore, painting and art triumphs over literature. The mysterious realms that Gauguin approached in his work were reflected in his life. He constructed his image as a mysterious barbarian in conflict with society and an exotic world. So he's kind of creating this identity much like Courbet did. Remember how Courbet wanted to be this sort of bohemian artist. Well, Gauguin is creating himself as this barbarian in conflict with society and the exotic world, this traveler. He combines this identity with subjects and colors in his painting that make him seem exotic and help him sell his work. Gauguin then returns to Brittany again, but by 1895 he's ready to return to Tahiti. He returned to Paris for a time and he took on another teenage girlfriend. He sold his paintings for a good amount of money, but then he leaves the city and his girlfriend behind and goes back to Tahiti and again has another Tahitian teenage lover. By 1887, he became sick when he got syphilis, and it was starting to take a toll on him. He also suffered from some heart attacks. Apparently, he spent all the money that he'd earned from the sale of his paintings and was again in poverty. So he decides to kill himself. But first, he wants to create one last masterpiece, this large painting, which is 12 by 4.5 feet. It is said to culminate all of his ideas and beliefs and sum up his views on Tahitian culture, especially the mysterious elements of it and its primitiveness. It is known as his true masterpiece, and it is known as a towering achievement of the late 19th century. The title, Where Do We Come From? What Are We? Where Are We Going? And the subject matter reflects his reaction to his experiences in life and also to his favorite daughter dying. His daughter was said to have died around this time. In addition to the overall Tahiti-ness of the scene of this image, we also see some Christian references. This figure picking an apple is a reference to paradise or paradise lost, Eden, the Old Testament. In the background, we see these figures that seem to be leaving a cave that may represent the entombment, referring to the New Testament. This child here may represent the Christ child, or might be a reference to the life cycle. To me, it seems like maybe the life cycle because we have this baby and this woman, and then we have this older person over here, kind of a middle-aged person, and then a younger child here. We also have presence of life with these animals. Similar to the deity in the Day of the Gods, we have this kind of unknown, not really a real god here in the background, just kind of his imagination of their gods. Again, like all of his other paintings that we've looked at, he uses very flat color. He has a semi-abstracted composition, particularly like over here. We're really seeing him breaking down understandable figures and really creating something that is almost not representational. It is like, this probably represents a tree. We can maybe make out a tree here. Maybe this is a pool, or it's unclear. The point is that he wants his image to look abstracted and unclear, even though it has these references. He wants you to get the overall feeling of the color, and he wants you to kind of make the decision of for yourself what exactly it means. The whole point is it's meant to provoke thought and meditation on our plight in life, especially since he gives it this title. He definitely wants you to be thinking about life, the life cycle, where we're going. After completing this image, this painting, Gauguin tries to kill himself, but he fails. He tries to kill himself with arsenic, but he drinks too much and he just throws it all up. He continues to paint, and his work becomes even more and more symbolic. Here are two of his later paintings. We can see that he's just using color, I mean, particularly in this image, just using color to represent some sort of feelings or trying to convey what cannot be said in words. In 1903, he finally succumbs to syphilis and dies. But he did leave his mark on the art world, as he was very influential in color, symbolism. His references to so-called primitive cultures will also become popular. We'll see Picasso do it. And this trend to growing towards abstraction and his total rejection of society will be very influential on future artists.